Okay, we're good to go.
Perfect. All right. So Drew, you and I talked about this. Alex and Alan have sent a few questions and they want us to sort of talk a little bit and sort of give a bit of our journey. So I'm just going to kind of work through the questions together. And so the first one is, how did you get involved in water loss reduction projects and what motivated you to make this a priority in your career? So we'll do a little ping pong. I'll start and then maybe have you come back. So this is fun actually, as I was thinking about it, because it began in 1997, and I'll be quick about it. But we started the firm in 95 as a municipal heavy civil water and wastewater treatment plant type design firm. And there at the time was a sister county relationship between Guilford County, North Carolina, and as you know, we started the firm in Winston-Salem, and also Yash County, Romania. And so I went over kind of on a fact-finding type mission and hit it off great with, at the time it was Rajak Yash and the technical team that was there. And we thought we were going to be designing a water treatment facility, but that project sort of fell through many different reasons. But on a follow-up visit, I got to see the Rajak Yash technical team in the field with correlators. And it's the first time I'd ever seen the correlator, and they were actually pinpointing leakage. It was some German equipment at the time. And it really got my attention. And I got to thinking about it. I was very active in the time with the International Committee of the American Council of Engineering Companies, and came back and did some investigation. And I actually found American-made data loggers. And at the time, I was connected with USAID. And so we were able to arrange a grant by which we took those data loggers, coupled that with the ground mics and correlators that the Rajak team had. And to this day, we still have a published industry best practice on leakage management. So fast forward, we thought everything was leakage. And as you know, there's quite a bit more that we'll be talking about in the workshop. But we really built our business going from leakage management to sort of coming in, as I like to say, the back door of discovering apparent loss and the other elements of non-revenue water. And in the States, there's quite a bit of ups and downs of droughts and shortages and pressure. And so it really opened up a very, very solid business for being able to go and help utilities. So, but that was that start, 1997. How about you? Drew?
Yeah, Steve, my experience in water loss is much more recent than that one, but it's great to hear how we, as a firm, started our journey in water loss control and water efficiency services. I have been with Kavanaugh for 8 years, and prior to that, I was also working in water resources, but from a floodplain management perspective. So responsible for floodplain mapping and management. I know that's also a very important topic in Romania. I've seen in the news recently some recent flooding events. Now, fast forward to about 2016, when I started with Kavanaugh. It was really my introduction in water loss control, but what an introduction it's been. Since then, I've had the privilege to work in the largest water loss training and technical assistance programs in the United States, work with industry experts in the American Waterworks Association Water Loss Control Committee, and have gotten international exposure through the Leakage Emissions Initiative as well. So it has been a fast-paced but very exciting introduction over the nearly last decade in water loss control.
Awesome. So obviously, we're going to bring a larger group to question number 2, which is talking about some of the success projects and stories and so forth. So we'll skip to number 3. Have you had the opportunity to work in Romania or become familiar with specific challenges or that our country, meaning Romania, faces regarding water loss and network management? So a little bit of a quick story on this, and you might pick up on the thread of the water loss specialist group and some of the panels and so forth that we've been on. But what I've observed, obviously, we have our experience in Romania, both with the water distribution system in Iași, but also the Iași district heating. But we also worked on a cross-border cooperation. That project never got funded, but it was a really good exercise of understanding country reporting from several countries, kind of tied in with the Danube Delta. The Water Law Specialist Group's an incredible forum of not only the industry leadership, but also different utilities that have unique challenges across the world. And one of the things that I find uniformly with all is the importance of getting started and also breaking old norms, how we've always done it, information that you count on as being accurate, when in reality, maybe it's been sort of a passed on methodology of how you report and track that information. But I would also say that working on the correct performance indicators. We know that in Romania and many countries, it's still a reporting on percent unaccounted for water or percent water loss, which is really just not helpful at all. There's so much wide variability in that. So I believe that the specific challenges in Romania are the same. I would have said that technology, access to technology 29 years ago was an issue. I don't see that now. Some of the things that I observe in Romanian water utilities is absolutely fascinating of how they've really taken a leap in technology advancements. But I don't know, Drew, anything to add to that?
I'll add first, Steve, I've not had the privilege of working in Romania yet, but I'm also very excited to be heading that way for a workshop in Bucharest in October. But I will add that even though my work has been limited in North America, there are always differences that we see from state to state or from water system to water system. So those challenges are going to be, and differences will be common no matter where you go. So very much looking forward to working with water operators in Romania and understanding those challenges and successes that they'll see.
Absolutely. The fourth one was, in your international experience, what are the key differences between water systems in the U.S. and those in other countries like Romania? What lessons can we learn and apply here? And this is a good one because it came up on kind of the webcast the other day. And I do go back to technology and key differences. I would say that in the U.S. There was a push towards AMI, and there were resources to do that. In many cases, it is in Romania as a part of a major funding initiative, where if it was an EBRD type of loan or a major upgrade that's happening on a international funding, then it becomes part of a suite of new technologies that are added in. I'd also say, like in the US, that brings complexities because you now have tons of data, as an example, and it's how you process that data when the fundamentals of how do we track how much water we're putting into our distribution system, being able to understand how much we're billing from our distribution system, and then breaking down those losses, both apparent and real. Those are uniform. It doesn't matter where you are. Sometimes you can get lost in the new technology and the results from some of that data. So those are a couple things that I would say. Anything to add there, Drew?
Yeah, I think with the differences there, Steve, and the lessons that we can learn and apply, the differences in the performance indicators that you mentioned, the challenges with obsolete reporting as a percentage. I know looking at water losses and NRW as a percentage is common across European countries. In the United States, and one of the things that we are going to bring to the workshop is looking at our non-revenue water in terms of volume, value, and validity. So a slightly different way of looking at this, but one in which it gives much more insight into what are our actionable steps to reduce our losses in our system. Looking at our indicators in volume per service connection per day, or looking at the cost of our NRW components in terms of cost per connection per year. And then a key component that we'll be talking about, that we always talk about, but we'll be talking about in October, is how reliable is the data to begin with.
You know, as you were sort of putting your remarks on that, one other thing, sort of the similarities and differences popped in my brain. So a lot of Romanian water utilities are a major operator, and they may have independent villages. It may be that it's 20 different distribution systems that they are responsible for managing, and those distribution systems may not be connected. So understanding that where that water audit boundary is and clarifying that, and we have the same thing with, as you know, with investor-owned utilities, that they may have multiple systems that they're responsible for, but it's not a one size fits all. Each individual distribution system has its own boundary, its own input volume, its own billing customers that are there, elements of cost and so forth can be uniform across the quote company, but that is maybe a little bit of a similarity and a difference as well. So, Drew, you mentioned the workshop. So it's October the 7th that we'll be leading that workshop. Excited about it. What can you maybe start as what can the participants expect from the event, and why do you think it's essential for them to attend?
Sure. So first of all, if people weren't able to see the webinar that we conducted last week, hopefully they can provide a link to that so they can understand exactly a little bit more detail what we'll be doing. But at a high level, we'll be talking about really the importance of using the water balance methodology and water auditing methodology with the water systems. We'll provide some hands-on practice. So entering in the actual volumes and the different system parameters and cost components. So we start to move from looking at our water loss as a percentage and then start to looking at it at specific volumes of loss that are occurring annually and how much it's costing a water system on an annual basis. And of course, that other component that we've been mentioning, how valid is the data? How reliable is the information? Taking those key concepts, really introducing those key concepts and giving some space for the participants to ask questions, to learn from each other, but also some forward thinking into what other projects or training assistance might be available in Romania.
Drew, perfect. I think the only thing I would add is you and I've done several of these workshops. The thing that always strikes me is getting the utilities together and having the back and forth dialogue about what's going on in their system, what's going on in their system, and the peer learning that happens is critically important. And something I would say I learn every time. As an instructor, I get to see and learn from the utilities as well. One other reminder is that utilities need to bring as many as they can in from their distribution, ideally from someone from billing, distribution, supply, that has the touches to all elements of the non-revenue water. Now that may not be as practical, but hopefully we can get a lot of different departments within the utility represented and in the room as well. Okay, question number 6 is how can a proper data audit help Romanian water operators improve network efficiency and reduce losses? Are there any new technological solutions that we recommend? When I read the question, I immediately went to what we'll be teaching is a system of a repeatable audit and a way that we would go about doing this. And then Drew, something that I feel is a great thing that we've watched certainly many in North America to do, and that is move to a trailing 12 months type of tracking, so that the audit, which is done on at least an annual basis, and with a validation step that we'll be talking a lot about. But how can we take monthly data and be able to have 12 months of data by creating this rolling trailing 12 months to be able to track it and look at some trends? So would love to have some utilities that are ready to maybe start looking at something like that. But from a technological standpoint, I think that that is prime material for follow-on. And really, as you said, Drew, setting up a training and technical assistance concept potentially that could be administered over maybe a 2, 3 year, 4 year program of work for the utilities to watch themselves and track and see progress. Anything to add kind of on that, that audit and the data and any new tools or solutions?
Yeah, Steve, just a little bit. I really like this question, and I'm going to replace the phrase proper data with reliable data.
Yeah.
It's a key point that I've been touching on so far, but this is really going to be a process of introducing the data validity to the water operators. The big picture that we're trying to achieve is to get better, more reliable data to make informed decisions on how to properly invest in the water system and the water loss intervention strategies. Steve, you've touched on it a few times, the new technologies and innovative solutions that are out there, and certainly that would be a part of the discussion in future training and technical assistance. But the immediate focus would be the using the water balance and establishing a baseline of validated water audit data, which is really the first step towards an effective water loss program.
Super. Question number 7, what would be the first crucial step for any company or authority looking to reduce water losses? I'll do a quick one here. Being willing to challenge past ways of gathering the data. And then the other one is we're just about to complete and then fill in the blank. It could be our new, meters that are being put out there, or, we're going through this billing system transfer, this new technology, and it always gets pushed. So the willingness to start, and then Drew, maybe you'll comment on, hey, we don't have everything metered. And so we're trying to figure that out. But to me, it's getting started and realizing that that starting point is the baseline that you're improving upon. So I don't know, thoughts about some of the estimation. We heard a couple comments in the webcast.
Yes, Steve, I totally agree. The number one thing is to get started, regardless of where you are. First of all, no water system has perfect data. We've been at this for a long time, and we've yet to see perfect data. Likely doesn't exist. So not waiting until you feel like your data is sufficient, but going ahead and getting started, because part of the process is identifying those levels of those areas of uncertainty, and then building the right practices and policies into your procedures to improve the certainty of your data. So, Steve, you mentioned we heard from some utilities during the webcast that they might not have all of these metered volumes. May have to rely on some estimation, some estimated volumes. That is totally okay. The great thing about the water balance methodology is that it really can be applied to any system and any degree of data that the system has.
Yep. So last question, and then of course we have our exciting sort of projects summary that's coming next. But finally, what message would you like to share with water professionals in Romania who might attend the workshop? What can they learn, and how will it improve their work? The thing that hit me, Drew, is we're going to be teaching a new language. Not only are we going to be talking in English and having that translated and work together to do that, but we're gonna offer new ways of tracking and new terminology that will defensively move you away from percentage and this thing that's really not helping you at all. So it's ways that you can be able to communicate with funding entities that may be looking at the utility to try to do some international investment. When you've got defensible metrics and indicators that you can show improvement over time and that be real, and that it's real, that builds momentum. So I think we're going to be describing new terminology, a vocabulary, certainty, and I think those are going to be things that are really going to serve the utility well. What you thinking, Drew?
Just hearing you share that, Steve, I'm thinking that, you know, for the attendees, Steve and I have a passion for this, and we know that anyone that's attending this workshop will also have a great passion for reducing losses in their system. We're gonna have fun doing it, and introducing a new way of looking at quantifying losses in your system and improving our certainty to make informed decisions. So those are just a few things that attendees can expect to learn in the workshop.
I'm excited. We've got all the travel booked. We're ready to go. So hopefully we'll see everybody there on October 7th. All right, Drew, I think we can stop recording there and let Alan and Alex take it from there.
Sounds good.